Folks, I got to tell you, my mind is currently blown. So I've been, searching around. I like to, take any opportunity I can to find what documents I can from the case. Primarily because in the West Memphis 3 case, almost the entire case file was available online. And, I just keep hoping. But fortunately, there are quite a few people that have gotten copies of certain documents. They've scanned them into online forums and whatnot. And I got to tell you, folks, how the fuck this was not more seriously looked into by Calumet County and Manitowoc Sheriff's Department, I will never know. But I just finished reading 3 separate interviews with Scott Tadych. My mind is blown. Seriously. Okay, so in the first one, which occurred on November 10th of 2005, Scott Tadych stated that he took off from work on October 31st of 2005. And he went to see his mother in Green Bay at the hospital. He came home, got home at about 3:15, packed up his stuff, and then went hunting and got out, finished his hunting at about 5 o'clock, at which time he went and picked up Barb, took at 5 at her home. Folks, isn't like 5:35-ish, because at 5 o'clock for him to get out of hunting and, take the time to drive over to Barb's house, that'd be about a half an hour. So at 5:30, he arrives at Barb Janda's house to pick her up. And in this initial statement, he says absolutely nothing about a fire burning. I'm going to let that sink in for a second. Okay. He then says that him and Barb went back to Green Bay to see his mother in the hospital because his mother and Barb are very close. And he brought her home and dropped her off at around 7:30, 7:45. Isn't this when most of the killing and the raping and the murdering and all that shit's supposed to be going on next door? And you're telling me she didn't hear shit? Come on, folks. He then stated that she left to Scott's house at 9. Is it 9 o'clock when Stephen and Brendan were supposed to be putting Teresa Halbach's body on the fire? Then on November 29th of 2005, he had a follow-up interview, at which time he says he got out of work at 3:15 and went hunting. Wait, I thought that he said that he had taken the day off and went to go see his mother in the hospital. Which is it, Scott? Did you go to work or did you go see mama? He then restates that he dropped Barb off. Or no, he went to Barb's house at about 5:15, 5:30. But this time there was a fire burning. Which is it, Scott? Was there a fire? Wasn't there a fire? And in that interview, he said that the flames were about 3 feet high. Then he says that when he dropped Barb off at about 7:15, 7:30, the fire was still going. Wait, I thought that they didn't put Teresa Halbach's body on the fire until 9 o'clock. Which is it, Steve? I'm sorry, Scott. Which is it? Because, right about now, I'm really fucking confused. In a subsequent statement, he says that he believes that Brendan Dassey and Stephen Avery had a sexual relationship. The fuck, Scott? Why is he every single statement, every subsequent statement just gets worse and worse and implicates Brendan and Stephen more and more and more and more? Isn't that convenient? I got to tell you, folks, this blew my mind. But you want to know what blew my mind even more? Guess where Scott Tadych worked at the time of the murder? The Wisconsin Aluminum Foundry. Yeah, folks. He worked in a place that has a shitload of fucking smelters. Mm-hmm. Anybody else fucking adding the pieces together? You know, if it fucking walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a fucking duck. Come on, folks. Scott Tadych needs to be looked at a lot closer in this. He has a criminal record with women. And he has a misplaced sense of entitlement. And he is a cocky son of a bitch. And the day after Stephen Avery is convicted, he says, yesterday was the best thing in the world. Yeah, now we know why, Scott, because you think you got away with murder. Everything comes out in the wash, baby. Everything comes out in the wash. I'm on to you, Scott Tadych. I'm going to go ahead and leave the link to these 3 statements given by Scott Tadych to investigators in the description below. I would love for all of you to read them and give me your comments. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next video.